I mean, they're still looking.
I've been contacted by somebody from my constituency 6 times, and 5 of them were her.
Well, and if you want me to just reach out to her, I'm more than happy to.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I think we're okay right now. See what happens. She hasn't responded to me when I replied back to her, so we'll see.
But I've got the report. They have been going out there.
All right. Do. Hey, what's going on, Pep? All right, everyone's here that's going to be here, so. Whenever you're ready to. 3 minutes.
It's a Senate hearing. Should we come around, walk around with them? Kumbaya. You don't look like Charlie.
Oh, no. Oh, I'm Jose Salcedo.
No, I haven't met you. How you doing, Jose? Nice to meet you.
Hey, Joel, how you doing, buddy?
Joel? How are you? Good.
You have 2 kids in the play? Didn't know you had 2 boys. Wow, they were very good. I went yesterday. Yeah, they have a good time? Yeah. It's fun. Yeah. Are they going for the Disney trip? Very good.
Slip right back.
All right.
Stealth,
Minute and a half.
Well, you were busy, so. Apparently. We'll start monitoring myself better.
Guys, catch up.
Time or not? We're almost there.
Less than 7 seconds.
You guys are anxious for this meeting.
There you go, 6 o'clock.
I'm going to call this meeting to order. I'll leave the roll call information on Lori's desk. Any public comments, Joel? Any public comments? Come right up to the thing and introduce yourself, because we're live.
Brian, can you plug that in?
Oh, hold on 1 minute.
It's the,
They still won't hear you.
other one. Closer to you, closer to you. Probably take us a couple seconds before it comes up. Is it red lights? There you go. Thank you.
All right. Now you're ready. Go ahead, Joel. Introduce yourself, so and your address.
Third Ward. Just want to ask the board, getting some information I couldn't find online. We're considering a summer block party, but we think we'd like to throw it in the park. So I don't know if the board would like to iron out some things that may or may not be required or needed, what might be on your guys' behalf, because no amenities there, but really didn't see shutting down any streets in the neighborhood would be too conducive for the city. And then the next would be preliminary to get a Halloween trail / party in the fall.
You're talking about Park
Huh?
Point Park?
Yeah, and a possible bonfire. So if you guys as a board over the next few months could look into some of those details, or if they exist, if they don't exist, things you don't want to do. We just didn't find any information of not being able to do it. And then let us know. I'll be in touch.
Okay. Thanks, Joel.
Fees, bathroom, whatever.
Yeah.
Anything you guys can look at. All right.
All right, thanks, Joel.
Thanks.
Okay, let's roll through the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from February of,
Move to approve the minutes of February 27th as presented.
thanks, Scott? A second?
Second.
Rosa's first. Rosa gets a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Ryan, number 4.
So just a quick update. So I did hear back from the Illinois DNR, the OSLAD, and that was for the grant that we were working on to expand the Milky Way Park South side. We unfortunately were not one of the projects chosen for this upcoming fiscal year. This is an annual grant, so we're going to continue to apply for it until we get it.
All right, very good. Anything else?
Nothing on, it's been a crazy busy
Yeah.
3 weeks, but
No, that's fine.
nothing project-wise.
Moving to Rebuild Illinois grant, any update?
Nope, same thing as last month. We're just waiting for it to hear back from it.
This is for the Lions Park walking
Yeah.
path, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, let's jump into survey results. Are we going to show them, or can we show them?
Everybody was emailed it. Do they have
Yeah.
access to review it? I can print copies if,
Is it on a Google Drive?
not the redact, no, it's not. It's in my Google Drive, my personal one.
I guess, Ryan, I would ask as the superintendent, I ask your thoughts on the survey.
A lot of the stuff that came from the survey was stuff that we knew. Obviously, the responses that we got were more than I was originally anticipating. We had 339 total surveys submitted, which is really, really good for all things considering. There wasn't really anything that really stuck out. Indoor pool, obviously, rec center. Splash pad was another.
Just
big
don't
one.
want to pay for it.
Swimming is one of the things that people, prioritize in our community. Do you guys think it would be beneficial? I can run copies real quick if we want to actually go through it.
I've got it. The only comment I thought of, well, I had a couple, but the one that kind of sticks out is one of the things that seemed to get a lot of interest was a first aid, CPR, AED class.
Yeah.
Which doesn't sound like it would cost much, especially if it were coordinated with Mercy or the fire department.
Well, so one of the reasons we threw that question in there was with the training that I did this weekend.
Mhm.
I can teach all those classes now as well.
Okay.
So with being the lifeguard instructor now, I can teach. There's a bunch of bridge classes that come along with it. It's additional training, but it's all online. And most of them are 30 minutes to 2 hours. It's more just polishing some of those specifics. But first aid, CPR, AED for the general public as well as professional rescuers, I can train.
Something that, based on the survey and just sort of general knowledge, I think that would be well received, and you don't need a fitness center, you don't need a rec center for it. I imagine you can do it right in here at very little cost to the Parks Department.
Yeah, we pretty much have all of the equipment already to run a first aid, CPR, AED class, just
Okay.
because that equipment is stuff that I need for the pool.
Yeah.
So we have all the mannequins, CPR masks, all the training equipment that we need. So it's something that we can definitely do in-house here.
The other thing I noticed, it seemed like most of the respondents prefer getting their information, I think most of them were social media.
Correct.
And I will say you're real good about having the Parks Department posting regularly on Facebook. It seems to be where an awful lot of people get all of their information these days.
Yeah, and that was one of the things we changed over that a couple
Yeah.
2 years ago. We specifically had that Harvard pool page.
Right.
But being that the pool's only really putting out information from May 1st until, the end of or middle of August, really, it was leaving that account inactive for a while, so we just merged everything over to the Harvard Parks and Recreation Department page.
Yeah, between that and the constant contact emails, seems to be about the best way to get information out to the most people.
Yeah, and we reached a lot of people with this survey. Towards the back, we have the analytics side of things. Just our Facebook post alone reached, almost 4,900 people.
Yeah.
So, we did get the survey visible. We had over 1,500 people start the survey.
Start to wonder why they started it and didn't finish it. It wasn't that complicated.
No.
Yeah.
Any other survey thoughts? Lou, I think, oh, go ahead. Jim.
I actually thought that there were a lot of responses, and it's, it's something we're doing anyway, but there are quite a few responses, I thought, as far as not new equipment, but maintaining what we got.
Agreed.
And I know we're trying to do that anyway, but, and, the other thing, a lot of people want the fitness center / workout place, but, we have something at Milky Way, don't we? Some kind of, that I don't think anybody knows exists. I know I didn't. So, I don't know.
A little workout area there, right? The outdoor, yeah.
Something, yeah.
What's the condition of that equipment? Is it still fairly good?
Yeah, it's actually in pretty good shape.
Okay.
For the age that it is.
Maybe we want to run a Facebook post. Hey, did you know we have this here? Yeah, type of thing.
My recommendation, Ryan, would be to kind of highlight what each of the pieces of equipment in there and the exercises that you can do.
Sure.
So, and I think each one has like a diagram of the things you can do on each. And
Yeah,
maybe,
they do.
Correct.
maybe create a post that shows all of these exercises can be done, kind of like a circuit training thing right there in the park.
Show us how they're used, Ryan.
And I think that's the biggest thing, with fitness equipment in the park, people who aren't familiar with fitness equipment don't know how to utilize it properly. To where, even a diagram doesn't necessarily represent the best or the overall picture of utilizing that piece. So that's something that we can definitely push.
Lou, I think you asked for this survey, so
Yeah,
I'm going to get your impressions of this.
So based on this and the previous survey, there is a general belief out there or demand for a rec center, but we're not in a position to build one. What I was taking from the survey results was that they want to see more out of the parks. And I know Ryan and I kind of have already talked about some programs that we could probably enhance, get that going a little better, and communication, just like just mentioned here about the weightlifting or the fitness area. Based on these, like social media, one of the things that we highlight is that the city does have a Twitter account, but we haven't had it active in 5 years. So that goes not just to the park side, but also the
Yeah.
city as well, as far as being more active on social media.
Twitter's a different
We even
animal.
talked about
though.
Instagram doing like little videos.
Yeah.
So actually having them do a little workout on there might actually work out. But
I was only halfway joking about Ryan doing it.
well, we can figure
To
somebody
have
else.
somebody do it would be very helpful.
How about board members?
There we go.
Excuse me.
But I think the thing is that we have some of these things where it's just not, the word isn't getting out there. And so that was one of the things that the survey was kind of screaming back, as well as some programs, like we do provide, I'm looking for my notes here. There are a few programs that we do provide, but they're just not aware of it. And so I think, again, it comes back to communicating, getting the word out there. And then actually, like, what do they mean by basketball was one of the comments as far as a program to put on. It wasn't baseball, it was the fundamentals of baseball that they would like to see. Because we already have like a basketball or a baseball league and so on. So what if we put on, like, say, a 1 week or 2 week seminar on, all right, just pitching, just catching.
Workshop.
Just a workshop, yeah. And that helps get more attention towards our Parks Department. So little things like that is what I was getting from the survey. And low-hanging fruit. And the other reason I wanted Ryan to do this is we've already done the 2023-24 budget. So this was more outside of the low-hanging fruit that we can already attack and get out there. This is programs that we can start to put together, do the research, what kind of homework we need to do, what kind of equipment, insurance, whatever, and even a price point we can figure for the 24-25 budget season. And we even talked about doing something similar to, is it Barefoot? Bigfoot. Sorry, I'm still new to the area.
Newbie.
Well, if it was more central Illinois, I could
I
start
vote that
rattling
we
all
change the
kinds
name
of
of the town, or the school to Barefoot, though. I like that better.
But like they come out with a brochure, and when Ryan and I and the mayor were talking is maybe do like a brochure like that to send out to the same emails, and then make available on the social media websites and that about programs that are going to be available in the 24-25 season. And the other thing was I know we've tried some programs in the past, and I'm sorry if I'm occupying too much time.
No, you're good, Lou.
But if we try it and it doesn't necessarily take off the first year, we need to come back and try it again. Give it at least 3 tries, so that we definitely get the word out there. It may take off the first year, die down the second. That doesn't mean we axe it right away. It may be just like a lull in the availability for time for the potential participants. So maybe in year 3, it starts to take off on its own. So stuff like that is what I was taking from the survey.
I had one other thing. There was a few mentions in there about the senior center. We don't have anything to do with that, do we, from the parks?
The Parks Department does not have anything to do with the senior center, with the exception that Ryan sits on the senior center's board as but that's more from a city's position, not necessarily the Parks Department. So I think there's an opportunity to partner with the senior center, but the Parks Board has no cognizance over the senior center activities.
We might want to make them privy to this survey, though, because some people on the survey definitely thought it was lacking.
So that conversation has already been had with the senior center director. One of the biggest problems with the senior center is the location of the senior center. It's not accessible for, people to walk to it. The conversation that we had was, we have this room, for example, that can be utilized for senior programs or senior services if need be. City Hall is obviously a little bit more accessible for somebody who might be taking a bus or walking than walking all the way up to
That's a
the
great
senior
idea.
center.
Actually, that's a really
So
good idea.
that conversation in that seat already has been planted.
That's a really good idea. No, I'm going to step back and agree with what John said and what Ryan has said before about, fixing up what we have before we add new amenities. I mean, the playground at Lions Park really needs some love. We've got so many things and we have, and if we add stuff, we're just making more that we have to take care of. I think one of the things, I'd really like to talk to the public about, if you want a rec center, you're paying property tax for that, and then you're paying a fee to use that, because we have to staff that. We can't just leave the doors open and let you come and go. You got to put a body in there. It's not going to be free. It's not like, I don't have to pay Anytime Fitness anymore to go work out. That's not the reality of this situation. It's like the pool, it's like the library.
And
It
it's going
costs
to be more
money.
than one body.
Yeah. Now, one of the ideas that we should have, or one of the things we should be doing is, and not at this point, but in the master plan that the school district has, they want to add a field house to the high school, to the northeast end of it, and like Elkhorn did, and that field house is available to the public, at certain times. That's the type of thing we can leverage. The school district has the availability, they've got their bonds for Crosby are going to run out here at some point, and they can ask the voters to, hey, we want to do this, can we just extend those bonds just like we did with the pool and the library? That's an opportunity there, and we could leverage our relationship with the school district there. But building a standalone rec center, that's incredible amount of money, and I love people that, they don't grasp the reality of the cost of what you're talking about there. They're not going to want to pay for it, I guarantee it. So, but I thought the survey went well, and highlighting the big point to me was fix what we got. Make it look a lot nicer than it is.
I was also pretty surprised to see that you had the names blacked out, but a few people did volunteer to do some things.
Yeah.
I don't know if
That
those things they volunteered for are feasible or something we want to do, but we did get some volunteers, which typically is hard to get.
Okay, any other discussion? That survey's out there, so, do we want to make that available to the public, or was it?
I think it makes sense to put some of the information out to the public.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's
I
the whole
mean,
point.
they're interested to know what their fellow residents are saying about the community. My overall impression for
Yeah.
the survey is we didn't really learn a whole lot of new things. Most of the things that were mentioned in here we already know. And the biggest overwhelming thing I saw was people want an indoor rec center. We kind of know that. What I don't think, there, as you've stated, the disconnect in making something like that happen is really determining what do you want in a rec center, what amenities do you want in the center, how big do you want, what kind of things, what kind of activities, who is it geared towards? Is it geared towards the community only? Is it geared to try and create sport tourism, where you're bringing in outside groups to utilize the facility to offset the cost of the facility? Those are the kind of things that need to be discussed if ever we pursue such a thing. But to give people an idea of what we're talking about, a very, very basic facility that would be basically 2 full-size basketball courts with some extra rooms for like activities and, fitness classes and things like that, you're probably talking $5 million. If you want a field house that includes indoor soccer and lots of other things, the sky's the limit. It could be as much as $50 million. It really depends on what you want it to be. Of course, all of that, even a $5 million building, is outside of this current body's budget. You currently have about $20,000 a year, plus or minus, of available income that you can utilize as revenue to do things. And in fact, you have been utilizing that to update the equipment that's been in our parks, like the concession stands and some of the other things throughout the parks. So all that money that has been generated from the referendum that passed is being utilized to upgrade our parks, just not at the rate that our community wants it upgraded. And that's because the amount of available funding is limited. So you have to make priorities on what you decide you want to update and repair. And then if you want to hit out for the long balls for a much bigger thing like a rec center, that's going to have to be a referendum that the community is going to have to sign up for, because the amount of funding needed to make that happen is not in our current budget. It just is not possible. So as a city staffing, what we have looked at is who are some areas within our community that we could partner with to try and utilize space, because our biggest issue with holding any kind of programming inside is the lack of space. We have this little bit of space here, but for really industrious type of physical activity, this isn't an appropriate space.
Can't play basketball in here?
So, there may be some other, obviously, we try to partner with the school district as much as we can, but of course, there's conflicts with school programming as well as having to make sure we have staffing in alignment with the school. And I think we've done a pretty good job at creating some of those relationships so that we can utilize school facilities. And so it's just a matter of strengthening that relationship and finding additional programming that we can partner with the school or some other entities within the community to do it indoors. Obviously, we have lots of outdoor space, and so I think the idea of the outdoor exercise area is a great way to highlight we do have that amenity here, just people don't necessarily realize it. So the comments that I saw where we're not repairing things, there are some things we haven't gotten to because it's been a prioritization. But we've done a lot of updating for, I think, the Boys League over in Moose Field. We've done some updates to the HERS fields. We've done some updates in Milky Way Park. So these updates are happening. You just don't have enough revenue to be able to do all the updates at once. It really it then comes down to prioritizing what makes the most sense to tackle next. And then once you make those priorities, then it'll be up to city staff to make sure we publicize that to the community so they understand these are the things that the board wants to work on. These are our priorities, and this is how it's going to, what things we're going to update. At the same time, you've got the Parks Foundation, who's kind of partnered with the Parks Board and helped create the dog park, which was a nice new amenity within the community. But you were able to do that without detracting from all the things that you want to repair. So I think that's been a very good relationship in that regard. Obviously, over time, that will continue to build on. But the main thing that I see from this, besides the fact that the community wants a rec center, is they want more programming, and more programming and more repairs. Well, we're already handling repairs. We're doing that. But where I think we lack is in the programming that we offer, and not everybody's aware of what programming we do offer. So I think Lou and Ryan have been working on some plans for trying to incorporate some additional programming this year, but really for an eye focused on the next budget year, where we hope to have a catalog of programming that we can kind of put out quarterly, and so that people can start signing up well in advance, which will also help us to ensure that, these programs are starting to get filled up because we're letting people know well in advance so they can sign up for them. That's all
Okay.
I have.
Thanks, Mike.
Sure.
Yeah, Rosa?
So are we communicating all this information to the community? Are we putting it on the website so that they know this is what we're doing? We have to prioritize. We don't have the funds, so that they understand, because I read a lot of the comments too, and they were complaining, well, you should do this. And they tell you all this, but like Jay said, they don't grasp the idea that we don't have.
Sure. I don't think we've gotten to that point because we've only just collected all this information, and the board has now had the opportunity to kind of review it. But I do anticipate from the city's perspective, that's why I think we need to give out these are the results we see, and some commentary to explain what the board is trying to accomplish within the budget that you have.
Because I think they're under the assumption that we're not doing anything, and that's not the case.
Agreed.
I can add just one
Yeah,
other
Lou.
thing. So the goal with this was supposed to be a first round survey, so we can kind of see what's the public is thinking. Once we've refined it and we've talked about projects, programs and stuff, then we were going to send that out as well. Just again to make sure it does a couple of things. It gets the information out there. It gets people thinking about the proposed programs, and if there's little aspects to it they'd like to see fine-tuned, we can get those results back, and that would happen hopefully around the fall when things lighten up for Ryan. And then it's something we can get the results back before a brochure goes out. So this is like step one.
Probably do it in both languages, so that, because I
And-
saw some complaints.
Did we
too
do
on
that this first time?
Say that again?
Did we have both languages available?
Yes, both languages. So this entire survey was available online as well as in person in both English and Spanish.
We had about 80 people fill it out in Spanish, right? I think that's what it said. There wasn't
No,
a
there was
breakdown.
there was 4 just from the Spanish survey
Okay.
itself. But from the demographic side, it was, I know it was about 70 or 80-20. No,
24% Hispanic,
Yeah, 20.
Latino.
so 80, yeah.
Okay.
But 4 were Spanish survey specific. Yeah.
And this was just online, right? We just did it online. We didn't
It,
send out.
it was available online, or if you came in City
Came in.
Hall, you could do a paper copy.
And with,
They actually did it, the paper copies?
nobody did. No.
Nobody did.
And just with, information available, the Google Drive that we have set up for the Parks Department is available to the public. I mean, everything that,
Probably one of the best kept secrets in town.
everything that we do from, the park assessments to our capital improvement list that we have, that's all available on the Google Drive.
Yeah.
So the information is there.
Fortunately, they're at work all day, so they're not gonna take the time to come in, or they're working out of town.
Mhm.
And, I think maybe next time we do a survey, maybe mail it out with a water bill so that we don't incur extra postage. Just,
Couldn't we partner with the library and have the survey available there? They're open till 8 o'clock at night, right?
Yeah,
Well, and that's, those are all great
Yeah.
suggestions that we can take when we form the second survey.
Yeah.
And this is also a good way for us to fine tune how we have been doing surveys, so that we can get the information out there. I mean, we do want to engage more with the public. This is a good way to do so.
I won't do it the same way, I'm telling you that.
With that,
I said I won't do it the same way. So this way that we did it, it was a lot of short answer, which is beneficial because you get their true feelings about it. You're not swaying one way or the other. But when you have 8 questions that are short answer and 338 responses, you have to go through each one of those to compile.
2,400 different responses.
It's very, very time consuming. So where you can still have short answer questions in there, but you can gear them towards youth, teens, adults, to where that way it's compiled by, age, instead of trying to weed it all out.
we learned something right away.
Right.
Mhm.
Right?
And don't let Scott share it on social
Yeah.
media, because then you get 37
Yeah,
responses
Scott
from
Logan
Scott
took
Logan.
Scott Logan took the survey 50
I didn't realize
times.
the link was coded to me until too late, until Ryan called me and said, hey, did your computer puke out?
All right, let's move to former community garden. Do we have any update?
So I do.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with the master gardener that takes care of or helps out at the senior center garden. She is going to take it to her board and talk with them about taking on the apple trees for this upcoming summer. They're not in a place that they want to take over the entire community garden, but I think the apple trees is a good step in the right direction. So she's going to hopefully get back to me in April on that.
Great, thank you.
I have a recommendation to the board that you might want to consider for the community garden. We've been looking for a group to take over the entire garden, and that's been a difficult task. What if you broke up the garden into individual plots and you allowed residents to garden a specific plot who doesn't have an opportunity to do it in their own yard, or their apartment dweller complex that doesn't have one? And this would allow them, here's public land that is set up for a garden, but you can have your own personal garden here, and allow users to do their own personal garden. What I think will happen if you make this offer is you'll have lots of people who want a garden, and they'll help each other out, and you'll just kind of have a de facto community garden, but it's made up of individuals taking care of very specific plots versus a group taking care of the whole thing.
Bad idea.
How big is it?
Let's pull a picture, because I don't know how big.
The most?
The only,
Yeah, it's not a huge area.
the only downside to doing something like that is, yes, you're utilizing the space as a garden. But having an organization take it on as a whole, that was what was feeding the food pantry. To where I think if you have it be residential, then they're just gonna keep it for them.
Well, I get that, but here's the thing. None of it's going to the food pantry today, because
No,
no
for
one's
sure.
using it. And the food pantry services our community.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's no group willing to take it over, but residents who don't have an opportunity because they don't have access to a plot to be able to garden, this would give them the ability to do so, and is in fact going to the community that the community pantry helps.
Yeah.
So I think instead of it
You're taking
being-
out the middleman.
You're taking out, you just let them do it themselves.
Or you could put it out there too, if they have access amount of vegetables, they can donate it,
Yeah,
donate
of
to the
course,
Food pantry,
of course.
if they choose to.
Tomatoes and zucchini.
Just a thought here, because otherwise, if no group is going to take it over, maybe there's an opportunity for individuals to or neighborhoods or friends, they wanted to do a plot of.
I like the idea of people that don't have an area for a garden
Yes.
to be able to have a place to do this.
Couldn't we do that? I mean, if you think about it, what is it, Country Brook, or what's the one that's by that's
Yes,
got the
Country
park
Brook.
all the way in the back?
Shadow Creek.
Shadow Creek, I mean, like that land we don't use, I mean, that's almost perfect. People that live in Shadow Creek, hey, guys, but they already have, well, there's some people up the front, though, that they have the townhouses.
Row house.
Those are the people that could use that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, that's just a thought. I mean, once we get that tennis court torn out of there, that should be like next year, I think we gotta dig that thing out.
I think it's worth asking the community, would they be interested in doing something like this? And it wouldn't be that difficult to basically corner out, areas that individuals could take care of.
I know I believe we've talked to the garden club, and they don't have the manpower or the interest in taking it over.
Correct.
Would they be able to mentor others who might want to, take a plot and, I don't know, maybe set up an occasional session where they would give a little instruction?
Yeah, I would have to ask, because the garden club primarily focuses on like flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so they actually take care of this area right here by the library,
Okay.
which is.
Downtown, too, right by
and
the train
downtown.
station.
Yeah, there's a few other places,
Yeah.
but yes. But here, they take care of this area, which is all flowers, perennials
Yeah.
and such. But you can see this is a pretty good size area, and these are the apple trees. So, you'd have room, you could just set up
You could just run wooden stakes in
Yeah.
there with,
And ribbons and,
I mean, it wouldn't be difficult to set up if the community had interest to do so.
Well, why don't you first, wait till you hear back from the master gardener you were talking to, and then
well, she would just be for the apple trees, so
Oh,
that
right,
wouldn't have
right,
any
right.
bearing on.
well, then,
the
do we
land.
want Brian to ask the question on social media?
I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
let's utilize it. If we have it, let's use it instead of losing
Yeah.
it.
And I can plot it out, figure it out the best way to, or maximize the space there, and then have that be a diagram for people to visualize it. The one issue that we have with this piece right now, so there's a water spigot right there in that corner.
Is it right here?
No, it's in the corner of that one.
I think it's over here, isn't it?
No, that bottom plot.
Oh, here.
It's on the right side corner. Yep, right there. So that water main, I'm pretty sure it's a 2-inch line, and it cracked. And since the garden wasn't in operation, Public Works never went in and repaired it. I know it was on their list of something to repair, but I don't know if they ever got to it. Obviously, if we're gonna be allowing people to garden there, gardening needs water. Do we wanna have a fee set up for the water? Do we want to
I don't
Say,
think so.
bring your own?
Why would we just give them access to water? I mean, we don't even
What
set a fee
they
for
do
that.
before? Did they have to pay whoever took care of that before?
No,
No, they never paid for water before.
What was the bill approximately for the season?
I don't think it's metered, is it?
I don't think that one is.
I'm gonna say fix it, don't meter it, and let them use the water. What's the big deal?
Okay.
It does,
I would
I
agree
can't
with that.
imagine they go through a lot of water anyways.
Until somebody goes out there
And
and
leaves
leaves
it
it.
open. That's
Leaves it
exactly
open,
what
and
happened.
the whole field's flooded.
And nobody notices it for 4 days,
That's
you
exactly
know,
what I was
or
thinking.
longer.
You can put a meter on it, yes, and then, and that's exactly what it'll do is, since we have readers, it'll just keep track of what's been going on. And then we have a better idea how much water is actually being used.
It's probably not a bad idea, but how do you, I don't think it's gonna be in anybody's best interest to try and charge for the
It's just-
usage.
it's-
But for our own information,
Right.
yes.
Because when you fill out your CCRs, your consumer water reports, you also have to track how much water you're losing. By, we're not losing it, we are actually just giving it away
Yeah.
in this case, but we can have a much better number to help, because you're allowed, I believe it's a 1 or 2% differential. And if we're not metering this, that's adding to that percentage.
Yeah.
So at least we can fill in that gap.
Makes sense.
Let's ask the question, Ryan. And then, can you check with Public Works to get a status on that? And it's something that they should fix then, that maybe we don't have it this summer, but next summer we have a plan in place to do it the following summer, get that all fixed and plot it out.
Could we reach out to church groups too, see if any of the churches want to take this up and, I mean, plant it and donate it to the food pantry? You might get some takers on that too.
Yeah.
Methodist Church has got enough land, they could have their own huge garden behind that thing. Gee, Christmas.
Because I'm pretty sure that line broke, because that's the line that fed the old ice rink. Somewhere in there it split, and so they shut it off.
Something we need to check.
My guess is, I don't know for sure, but I'm gonna guess that if it's a spigot here, it probably runs to the water fountain that's here.
Could be.
That's my guess.
Yeah, just check with Public Works on that, get a status. All right, moving along, IGA,
So-
CHD 50.
That's in progress.
Okay.
My priority the last 3 weeks have been the survey, the
Sure.
data, and my LGI course.
Right, I get it.
So it's on the list for this upcoming month.
And I'll take some blame on that as well. With getting used to things and having
Oh, no
computer
blame.
issues lately.
No.
So we'll get on this.
Yeah, I mean, Barry's going to be extremely busy between now and the end of the year because if you've watched their social media, they're canceling games every other day because the weather's still not acceptable to do anything. So you might not be able to get him till the summer, but I just get his attention and ask him, hey, can we set, I'd like to get with you in June or whatever and hammer this out and get with Corey. I mean, because that's really when they've got time to discuss it anyway, so just want to get moving forward on it. Okay, swimming pool then, Ryan.
It's the same sheet that was handed out last month. Since it is just a couple of time changes, I would like approval.
Do you have any problem with the outside food and beverage? Do you have people make problems with that or no?
Oh, all the time. Every single year it's an issue.
We have signs up at the
Oh,
pool?
yeah.
Okay,
We have a sign at the front door, we have a sign at the desk, we have a sign on the second door, we have a sign leading down into the pool deck. Does it change? No.
no. Nope. Any questions on the swimming pool info?
And just to recap, the only change was Fridays last year was 12 to 8 and Saturdays was 1 to 7. We're just running everything 12 to 7.
Typically, you have staff there then from like 11 till 8,
It'll be 11:30 to 7:30 normally,
right, 8
staff will
hours?
be
Okay.
there, yeah.
How many staff members are you going to run with this year?
I'm trying to figure out how many are coming back. right now.
Okay. Vandalism report.
Nothing to report.
Yay. Lou, number 11, city administrator park land discussion.
Back to vandalism. So, as I'm going through and kind of taking an outsider's view on things and looking on page 12 of the survey, when we looked at how many parks are being used, we've got a lot of land. We've got a lot of parkland. Not trying to.
Bad decisions made years ago to not.
Well, and so what I'm saying, what I'm trying to talk about is some of this land, it actually has value, it actually has street value, and we probably should consider liquidating some of it. Case in point, like Shadow Creek, Mayor, if you can pull that
The
up.
back end of it, yeah.
Well,
I
there's
talked
actually
about
both ends, and I asked both survey companies in the area. This is one in.
Here, what I should do is not this, but Athena.
If you want to pass it that way, and then I'll pass it that way.
Right here.
On this bottom part here, we can get at least 3 parcels, 3 lots out of that land alone. And that's what is being passed around.
Yeah.
And then the other part to it is maintenance alone. We could extend these property lines all the way across and close out this half of the pond,
Like was done in
like was done in North Point,
Park Point.
or Park Point.
Yeah.
And that puts it back on the tax rolls as well. So we're cutting our losses and we're putting things back on the tax roll. And out of all the parkland that I've been looking at and we've been discussing, this one, it almost seems like the easiest, simplest one to liquidate. There's no features on it. It is available land that just has to be parceled out. To parcel it out, to make those changes on the property lines, we'd have to do a new subdivision track, and that would, all in all, from beginning to end, run about, the highest quote I've gotten right now is $4,600 to do all that. Each one of those lots can go for anywhere from $1,000 to $800 to $8,000. So you're already ahead of the game. And then it benefits the city as well. I mean,
Now you get tax revenue.
exactly. And we develop that area a little more. So that's one thing to consider. And if Mayor, you can go to the northern part.
I gotta understand, if you're gonna extend out those lots, you're saying that people are gonna have to pay extra for that
It would
extra
be
land?
additional property, and so they would pay whatever their property would be. You're
It
talking
would-
Or
about,
are they gonna have a choice then? Cause some may wanna do it, some may not.
well, that's just it. If we're gonna do it, we need to either let it, because we had this problem at
Park Point.
Park Point.
They
Where
did
it
the
was an
same
option.
thing. I think the land was given to the adjacent property owners. You were only talking 10 to 20 feet between where their property line ended and where the shoreline was, the natural shoreline.
So here you can see here.
I don't believe, yeah, you can see the extra lots there. There are extra subdivisions.
Little
That's
bit.
the amount that was added on each of those properties.
Most of those people probably think that land's theirs anyway.
Well, and.
Well, it is now.
Well,
Well, no,
in
on
this
the other
case,
one.
By doing it, where some people are already encroaching on that land.
Correct.
It costs us more time and energy to try to enforce it
Yeah.
than it is just to let it go.
I think that was the logic in doing it in Park Point. And I'd be willing to bet that the difference in property taxes
Oh, it's probably
minimal.
negligible.
Oh, yeah, you're not talking.
If you're not building on
this
it.
side.
Right.
And I'm sorry.
It's okay, I just want to interject quick, I don't have an exact number, but you're on the right track, Scott. That when it was a city park, everybody was using their backyard to fish.
Yeah.
So the city created that, I believe they paid $300 per extension.
The residents
It's
did?
locked in, the resident.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think we can go back in the minutes and look at that. That was,
Maybe you can go far, far back
It wasn't that long ago.
It was like 2014, 15,
Yeah,
somewhere
right.
in that time frame.
I think it may have been earlier than that, because I
It-
think
it
I
may
was on
very well
council.
Talking about those lots?
Yeah.
Up in Park Point.
2002.
No, it was, when I was with the paper, we
Yeah,
did
it was
it.
after that. It was,
I'll look.
Yeah, we'll have it for the next meeting.
Well, the idea is since the city would be making money back on these parcels down here.
These ones.
Okay, we could literally just cut it up and give it to them.
yeah.
Oh, I agree.
And then be done with it. Because if you make it what I'm worried is, yeah, they're already encroaching. If they can continue to encroach, and the city's already really willing to give it away, but we're gonna ask them for, $200, $300, well, I'll just continue to encroach.
Right.
Just give it to them, kind of wash your hands, take your loss and move on. In some cases, like down here, they're gonna benefit a little bit more. Up here, not as much. So is it 100, 200, 100 for this one, 300 for that one?
Yeah.
So that's one of the proposals. And then I'm asking this committee to consider.
Yeah,
Um,
in the north
And then
part.
on the north end, is essentially what I'm asking is, because we thought about maybe like offering it to these two landowners, but they're not gonna wanna extend any further. Is to literally cut this line here, keep it a small park, and then we were looking at, doing either.
Can we just do
storage-
prairie back there?
What's that?
Couldn't you just do prairie?
You could do prairie back there. What I was actually is, because one of the things that's killing our city budget is utility bills. Is to actually make that more of a.
Solar?
A solar.
So
Between
you-
that and the land that's already next to this land
Yeah.
right here,
Right.
we can power up there and even feed some power over to our new treatment plant. That's in addition to any land over here that we convert. And this land that the city owns, that's, what I'm doing is reaching out to the Conservancy about putting together some sort of task force to kind of go through, clean it up and make it like a little arboretum. So that would actually be a park with very little maintenance. It's in a floodplain, so we can't sell it.
Ryan, did you talk to Aaron Kenny about his lots there? He owns to the north, right there. I think he was willing to get rid of that too. I don't think he wants that land.
See, and that's where we gotta be careful
Yeah.
when we are accepting land, because
Yeah.
it's land that.
Yeah, that's
people are
all.
Giving it away.
Yeah,
Yeah, just so you know, this is all in the floodplain.
Right.
yeah, I was gonna say it's flood.
So this way, if it floods, if it's already like a mini arboretum, because one of the things we have some security issues in there, from the police side. If we at least go in there and have the trees trimmed up to about, 4 to 6 foot height, it's a lot easier for the police when they drive by, just to throw their spotlight and see what's going on back there. We could really make that look nice. I've seen arboretums that are about that, actually a little smaller than that. It's just a nice little getaway from, everyday life, and it's not too far from downtown as well. Kind of spruces up the whole area there. And this kind of ties into the Tree City USA a little bit too.
Any other
so-
land that you're looking at?
If you can go to,
Where do you want me to go?
what's the other one here? Park Point Park. All right, we've already got encroachment happening here, as you can probably tell.
Oh, yeah.
Extend these properties out and offer it to them. And again, you're just putting it back on the tax roll. And
Same
potentially-
deal, just give it to them.
Right, and just cutting this whole service area down, because we can barely get back here anyway.
No, you can't.
So just cut it loose.
Yeah, he's already doing something back by
Right.
the creek.
It would cost, it would cost him less to buy the land than for us to come in heavy-handed and say you gotta tear everything up.
We had an issue, those two little triangles on the southeast corner there. Yeah, there. I don't remember exactly what happened, but because that was city property, it was put out to bid. And at the time, we assumed that those two property owners were the only ones who were gonna bid. They weren't. And we had somebody, I don't remember all the details, but somebody bid on one or both of those properties and was the high bid. I mean, it's landlocked property. He wouldn't have had any access to it.
But you were able to choose the bidder, right? You didn't have to take the high bid.
It's going back long enough, I don't remember exactly what we did. I
So,
believe that is what.
When that happens, the city council has the ability to award the bid to the bidder that they believe makes the most sense for the
Highest
community.
responsible bidder.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in this case, my guess, this is before I was mayor, but my guess is, it made sense to give it to the adjoining property.
Yeah, it was,
As
those
the
two in
winning bids.
particular, though, I remember were sold. I mean, because it did go out as a bid, going out to bid.
Like this property owner here doesn't have much of a backyard, they have the potential to blow.
Yeah.
So you're rewarding the resident at the same time we're taking care of, the city, making us a little more streamlined.
Sure.
And I haven't quite figured out over here yet. These are the lowest hanging fruit in this proposal that we can, convert over. And it cuts down our guys having to run around hauling equipment all over to try to maintain.
Yep. It's a few
I
more
don't think
dollars
we've ever
on the
been back in that corner. I don't think anyone from the city's ever.
No, because that's all in the floodway, and that's
Yeah.
the other part as far as if you can pull the,
No access to those back pieces.
except through the properties.
Right, it's so overgrown and
Right.
nobody's using it.
Yeah, right.
So
No,
you can see here by the floodplain, this is one of the reasons why I suspect the land was given to the city is it's not buildable land. Down the road, when we talk residential development, we need to insert verbiage in here that when you build, because what I'm used to is when you build, they could have made all of this, a retention pond, and it would have it left some of the land further north, more buildable, and comply with every rule that's out there. And then it wouldn't have been turned over to us, it would have remained where it is.
Having had experience with the developer out there personally.
Yeah.
The reason that was given to the city is because he's a cheap son of a,
Well, but see, if it's part of the residential
we're
development.
live, so I'm not gonna say it all.
But if it's part of the residential development agreement, I mean, there's some horse trading that goes on with it as well, but that would, take care of a lot of these problems, and we don't have floodplain land just dumped to the city without a plan.
Realistically, that park should have been deeded to the association, because with extremely rare exceptions, the only people who ever use that park are residents of Park Point.
And then the other one is,
Or nefarious, or teenagers
Well-
up to nefarious acts, right?
Yeah.
they must be from another city, because
Yeah.
our people
Yeah,
are.
well-
And I think there's been the occasional homeless person.
And then can you go to Country Brook?
Country Brook,
Thank you,
yes.
sir. So, and then the other proposal,
This one or
nope, one for.
this one?
Is this, I kind of call it a punch bowl because it's just, it'll flood. But this is where we can, again, with Tree City USA, we can comply with, some of the requirements of Tree City USA. We get talk to the Conservancy about coming in and actually planting things in there and just, again, make it a mini arboretum that is low maintenance on our part. If anything, let them run it. It's large enough, it takes the maintenance off our end, and our guys can spend more time where it's needed. Instead of more or less lost causes. I hope I don't get quoted that way. But it's just streamlining, and then, again, this is just low-hanging fruit, and the survey kind of shows it, where out of those three areas, you're half, the fourth lowest, total. And you're, what, 10% of the usage in one of the parks, in two of the parks, compared to Milky Way. So we can actually spend more time in Milky Way where more people are using it. than
I think
on
the only thing
parks
we do there is mow it anyway. We don't, I mean, and try to maintain the gazebo and the,
See, even mowing it, as much as simple as
Oh,
it
right.
is, it's hours, it's.
Oh, I get it.
It's hours, both labor.
we weren't
hours on
mowing
the
it at one
equipment.
point because of the budget. I
And-
mean,
yeah.
now we are, yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you go out there and look at the trees that are there are just convoluted, thrown together. A lot of them are just overgrown, junk. And it really needs to be, if we turn it over to someone, that's great that they would maintain it.
Are we sure, though, that the residents don't use that for soccer or something down there? Because it's never got water in it, and it's a decent piece of,
It doesn't get used
Greenery.
a whole lot, to be honest
I don't live there,
with
so,
you.
yeah, you know. you
Yeah.
know.
And this is just by basing on the survey results, just confirm what I've been talking with staff members who've been maintaining it. When I did a ride-along, talking to the police, what they've seen, there's not that much usage, particularly in this piece.
Isn't there a soccer field at
Trucks and
Crosby right there?
four-wheelers.
There's a soccer field at Crosby,
Yeah, Crosby's
Yeah,
got a
I mean-
soccer field.
right there, John.
And then these are
No,
proposals.
I'm just saying, I hesitate to
Oh, no, I get it.
do something without the residents who are living there, letting them know. I know over where Joel is, over there in Park Point, you know, there were some issues after they did the, nature
Yeah, the
planning,
pollen.
pollinator thing, right.
Yeah,
Right.
pollinator. yeah.
All of a sudden, we've taken all their land
Yeah.
that the kids used to play baseball or something.
Yeah.
And so I just want to make sure that, we,
Well, so how
we
do-
do our due
Well,
diligence
but
before we
that's-
just
that's
think,
where-
you know.
And I'm not opposed to getting the citizen feedback on this. It just, at some point, we have to decide, are we going to spend more money taking care of something? And we don't have that much, I hate to sound this way, but we're very tight on budget. You all know that. And so this will free up some time, some energy that we can spend and save what we already have and prosper that way. We just have, for a city our size, we have way too much parkland.
Lou, explain to me how that would work. If we would hand that over to somebody and they would plant the trees and do all, or who would maintain
Well,
that?
that's what I want to flesh out more, is that proposal, or just have them come in and just plant things that would occupy that more and cut down the general maintenance. So it's just a proposal, and I'm
I could
asking.
see how this particular plot, kind of from what you're saying, is it would remain city property, but we'd get the conservancy or somebody to come in and basically take care of the maintenance on it.
Right. No different
planting
than
trees or
like
whatever.
the community garden. The city would still, you're correct,
Yeah.
the city would still own the land, but we're just letting somebody else do the maintenance.
Or changing
Or
it to
change
a
it.
no maintenance or
Correct.
very low maintenance, yeah.
Little to no maintenance. It could be a beautification project as well, which will also spruce up the area.
Could be an area to help propagate monarch butterflies. So if you plant the whole area with,
Another pollinator?
another milkweed, then you would,
Yeah.
be a fantastic area for monarch butterflies.
From my understanding, the walking path here is kind of built on an angle anyway. So it's not highly usable. So,
Which walking?
around here,
The sidewalks, you mean?
sidewalks, yeah.
I don't know, they're not an angle.
Or, okay.
No, the sidewalks are all right.
Yeah, we
I
use that,
apologize.
totally.
I apologize. Still the
The
new
walking
guy.
path.
I'm gonna use that for a little while.
And actually, the sidewalks are in actually pretty decent
Yeah,
shape,
they
and I'll walk that too.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of it being, let someone else maintain it. It's nice trees. It looks nice, right? Because I'm all for trees and planting trees. I'm just curious what it would be like, right? I guess I'm trying to.
You can tell by the structure.
It's such a big area.
You've got a lot of trees already planted on the side, almost to just kind of obscure that view anyway. Well, how
Well,
about
that's supposed to be just drainage, and that's what it was. That's what it's,
let's beautify it.
well,
If
yeah,
we have an opportunity to beautify it. and
if someone will
make
pay for it, that'd be great.
It
yeah.
could be another arboretum.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm asking the board here to, give me the wink of the nod to flesh this out more.
I would like you to get more information on that, absolutely, and find out what it would, what it would look like, what the plans would be, or they would plant, or kind of what it would be like.
Actually, I like all the ideas that you've
Every
put
single one of them,
forth
so did I. Yep.
for the unloading city property, developing those possibly 3 lots.
Solar panels.
Yeah, solar's a great idea. I didn't even think about that.
That'll
back in the day.
alleviate a lot of our utility bills.
Well, getting rid of those lots over there, it just makes total sense to me. I mean, why wouldn't we sell them and make money and let those people have that property? Then we don't have to maintain that now, it's done.
Any idea why that corner was never developed?
I think it was a park, right? Wasn't
Or
that?
was it supposed to be a park?
Yeah, it is a park. It's got a couple benches
Oh,
there,
okay.
and But it's like, all we do is mow it. That's all we do. And people go in there and fish, but, you know,
Okay.
Well, I guess there was fishing there at one point.
there still is. There are
There still
people,
is.
yeah, people still go in there and fish.
It's a puddle, there's fishing.
Yeah, right.
So that would that be an issue though, trying to, if the rest of the residents want to get in there and fish and all, if that property's been taken up?
If you sell these, the only option would be to create a public access way in here, either here or here. But I think the proposal was to make this 3 sellable lots, which would close off access, to the public.
Do you have it over on that side?
I got it right here.
I like the lots thing, but I don't know, I think part of the draw to that location would be to have water access, and one of those lots doesn't have it. But that's just
Oh, you
my-
mean the 3
That's
lots
just
that
my
would,
opinion.
the
Yeah,
3 lots that would be there?
Right.
Yeah, you'd
Sell
have-
off 2 lots and leave a strip public access.
Well, if you don't go with this part of the plan, then yeah, right here, there's already a ramp. Where you can actually create a easement to go from here
There you go.
across and have access. So yes, I mean, it's all possible.
The issue is though, if you sell up to the bank, then
There's not a lot of access.
there's no
there, right?
access on the bank anyways.
Yeah.
The access would be on the far side, which, you're now gonna have to,
Make it like Lake Geneva.
go down, because the city
You're
owns
able to
this
walk
strip
around in
here,
Lake
but
Geneva,
not
right? Come on,
this
22
strip.
miles? Those millionaires don't complain about that,
Right.
do they?
And just as a side note, that back part of, or that north side would still be city property, so it would still have to be maintained by the city Parks
Yes,
Department.
this piece here and then the strip along
To
this
where
edge.
if we go all the way down to the water line, that would eliminate access for us as well. Unless we cut over from Public Works and built a bridge.
Well, and we already have a spot here, it's just creating an access point either here, or, again, if you can go down further, still on this lot, because right now you're looking at, the average lot size was 60-some feet, these are gonna be closer to 70 each. So we still could chop this piece off to have access back here, if we don't get rid of the rest of this.
Or do we have to mow the backside of that pond if we do give that land to the people? Is that necessary to mow the backside?
Not necessarily mowing it. That pond in particular does like to attract beavers.
Okay.
So,
So like
where,
Lou said though, you could, from up from Public
Daisy
Works up on top, you
owns
can,
this piece here. It's also, if it really came down to it, we could talk to Daisy about potentially giving us just an easement.
It's
to be
not
able to come
Daisy,
back
it's
in.
Stahl.
It's not- Sorry. Stahl.
Daisy owns next to it.
Yeah, Daisy owns this.
well, up on top though, you said the Public Works, we could create a little
A path.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you need.
And, I mean, there's a lot of things we can think of doing with it, but I'm just trying to encourage the conversation of, let's.
Reduce our expenses.
And increase our revenues.
Yep.
Without being a huge burden on everybody.
I like selling the lots though, that makes sense.
And we can also even put it together as some sort of development agreement where, 3 lots, if they do it, they get, instead of $8,000, they do it for $5,000. If they promise to do it within a year.
Do all 3 of them.
Like something. It gives us some negotiating. Because right now, we're getting 0 tax dollars off it, and we're spending more money on it.
Oh, we could sell a lot. Yeah, I mean, I'd sell all 3 of them if they would promise to put houses on them within a certain amount of time, yeah. At a cheap rate, here, they're all yours. But let's see the houses.
There's other parcels, but this is, like I said, the lowest hanging fruit.
Yeah.
I'd like to approach everyone about.
The city's-
Some kookier ideas.
Is the city still basically waiving building permits for residences? I know that was
It's not waived, no, it's reduced.
incredibly reduced.
Reduced, yeah.
Okay. Another attraction to turning these into buildable homes. or
And
built
compared
homes.
to the rest of the land around it, the rest of the parcels around it, he said these will end up being a lot larger, so you have more ability to put homes on it.
Yeah.
Without worrying about the setbacks.
Okay. Good.
I mean, I just, again, for our listeners out there too, I'm not a big fan of just liquidating.
Right.
But we have a lot of parcels, and we only have so much in funds. And now, as we grow, which we will grow, we can always, in future editions, work with the developer and plan them out accordingly.
Okay. Any other questions for Lou?
I had one more. Unlike the parcels we sold in Country Brook, right? We sold those, right? Yeah. Those each were already set up for, I mean, they come in, they got the infrastructure.
They do, they're all
These-
improved
These
properties.
do not.
They don't, but in terms of,
Close.
it's close,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
You're close enough
water
to
and
the
sewer
lines.
is right in
No,
front
no,
of
no, I know it is, but it's not set up.
It's not platted that way.
Yeah.
I think we
But-
need to do some investigation if we give
But
Lou the
what I'm
nod
saying,
to look at that. Yeah.
It's no different than this lot right here. It's got water and sewer in front.
Okay.
Would be the same here. It says
Instead of-
water
yeah,
and
Instead of
sewer.
laying a brand-new line down, you're already close enough to a line to tap into.
Yeah.
The road's already there.
So
again,
they're
it's one of
improved,
those
they would be improved lots, are
Right.
just not built on yet, so.
They put houses there too. They got to put sidewalk through, which they didn't do when they built that park. They stopped the sidewalk, which kills me. Yeah, it kills me that they didn't do that. I don't understand.
When I bought my house in Park Point, I had to pay to have the sidewalk put
Yeah.
on my lot, so I had, because I didn't have a neighbor on either side
Yeah.
at the time. I had a sidewalk
Yep,
the width of my lot, and that was it.
like McDonald's, right?
And with that in mind too, if you notice, yeah, it stops here and it
Yep.
stops here.
Yep.
Well, with having that now developed land, there's a better chance that you're gonna get that.
There will be, because they'll be
will be.
required to put a sidewalk.
It's required now, yeah.
So yes, thank you for that correction. So now you're gonna have that sidewalk all the way around. I'm sorry, what was that?
Your electric hookups all in rear easement from there. See where your mains.
So that's easy to get at.
See where the mains end up for the gas and water.
It'll be close.
Yeah.
Seriously though, if we sell those lots, can't we simply put an easement through, like we said, and make an agreement that if you're lotted on that land, it's your land now, but that's open, you know, if someone wants to come back there and fish, like Lake Geneva.
Oh, yeah.
Just like Lake Geneva. I mean,
Well, and, I mean, you could do that, you can also just sell
Or-
these parcels
yeah,
and leave this back here. I mean, there's some creativity we can
Yeah.
do. And this was a bare bones, I didn't want
Yeah.
the surveyors to put a ton of money into it. I just wanted them to do something bare bones, give me something I can present, as an idea. And it still would have to go through the same process, it would still have to go to the planning committee because it is a plat change. Or sorry, subdivision, change. So yeah, so there's still processes along. This isn't gonna be like, oh, tomorrow, we're up for sale.
no, I get it. Any other questions for Lou? Are we good with them just moving forward to investigate?
Get more
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike Mears report?
Pretty much talked about everything that I would talk about, except for the fact that I do want to create a kind of a forum with the community to discuss and set our community's expectations about an indoor facility. I
About
think
what, I'm sorry?
an indoor rec center facility. I think there is enough there is enough desire in the community to start talking about it, and then try to gather key people who could be a proponent for it, to start thinking about ways to finance something in the future. My guess is, this is a 10, 15-year project, but it's something that it will never start till we start getting people together to talk about it. So I'm expecting to do some kind of forum here in the next month or two. And I'm going to be reaching out to some of the people who have left their information here, as well as some business owners and perhaps some of those here on this board to come, and let's just have an open forum and discuss it.
Okay.
And if I can add to that, it's a good way also to get the price tag out there. I
Right.
mean, if it's gonna be 8 million, at least it's up front that this is the estimate, right now, so people don't have an idea it's gonna be $150 million or something like that. That's a good way to make sure everybody is on board if it's gonna proceed.
I just feel that 10 to 15 years from now, District 50 will have their own, probably less. That's my own thinking. And hopefully, like you all said, if we're in with District 50, we can utilize that, or the taxpayers or whatever. But no, it's a good, Mayor. We need
Well,
to.
I expect District 50 to be part of this forum.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't see the city doing this on their own. I see it being a consortium of District 50, the city, and perhaps Mercy, and other business owners in the community, as well as residents.
Agreed. Okay. Ryan,
Um,
Superintendent.
my report's submitted, and I'm pretty sure we touched on everything in my report already.
Scott, Park Foundation.
Nothing really to report.
Okay. Any new business at all? Ryan, I forgot to ask, did you ever get any, and I know you were trying to look into replacement items for the playground.
We are still working on that. The company that has done all of our playgrounds has been very difficult to get back to me.
Yeah, like the playground in Lions Park, that thing is over 20 years old, 25 years old now, and a lot of it's, either been graffitied or, some of it's falling apart, not falling apart, but it's worn from years of being outside in use. So,
Is there anybody else you can reach out to, Ryan, if they're being difficult to communicate with?
None that are close that are that specific brand.
We look at other brands.
You're not going to, more than likely, we're not going to be able to find replacement parts to fit that aren't brand specific.
okay.
I'm going
Any-
to keep trying though.
Yeah,
I'm going to keep
we
going.
might have to think of another solution. What about that money that state senator was talking about, our state representative was talking about? Mike, come on.
It's money from heaven,
It just
pay
disappeared.
for it to fall.
All right, next meeting is April 17th. So make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?